Folks, I'll be sharing my techniques and this technology at these upcoming spaces. Sure hope to meet you there. Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, November 6th, and everyone's out to vote. Very interestingly, I've been seeing these articles that say, hey, more people are voting in this midterm than they did in the original election. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, we've got the post-election bounce on the horizon. What I wanted to do is sort of talk about what we saw this morning and then what we saw this afternoon as it holds up into the space. So let's take a look at the ES this morning. We were looking at price action really right around this area here in the space. We know that if it held the motion up above this 2736, 2737 area, that it would continue. It bounced up, did beautifully, had the first pass fade. For those of us in the blog, it hit our first target, faded all the way back down into support, and then allowed us to re-enter and move into the space, whereby giving us the additional targets. And you can see this space is a key stall out zone for us. We've been here for several hours coming into the resistance zone. It is a bit of a topping formation as it sits right now. So my suspicion again is buy the rumor, sell the news. However, what we could see is a break that allows us to hold this region and then expand into this key area. Now, I have the price action here, 27.86. It could be 27.82, it could be 27.89. Somewhere around here, we should really grind to halt. Here's the thing. If you're thinking to yourself, wow, tonight might make a great trading opportunity, which is why I'm putting out the video, what we're seeing is the following: higher lows, higher highs. But if I could draw a line underneath, we would see very steep motion underneath and then a curve on the top that tells us that momentum is shifting. And so taking a breakout space, you want to be very careful you don't hang on and drift yourself down into areas that are not going to hold. So suffice to say, somewhere around 27.48 ought to hold. 27.57 is a great big target. 27.51 is the target just below that, and then 27.49. You know what? I'm a big fan of going long on the pullback. This is a region that is in a giant relief bounce. And if we take a look at a 2-day cycle, that's exactly what we're going to see, right? Our overall formation is bearish. High, low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So all of the movement is going to come up into these frontline resistance areas and reject at the first pass. Now notice, this one rejected at its first pass into 27.66. Now it pulled back, it held again, likely to come through this area and bounce into the next zone, which is why I said, hey, listen, you know what? It could be 27.82. As it punches up into that area for the first time, we are going to see it fade just a bit, maybe more than just a bit, if we do buy the rumor, sell the news here in this particular space, or we climb right back up in this space. All right, everything points to bounces into resistance that are going to fail. But here's the thing: if I'm just looking for resistance, I'm taking no advantage of the fact that I'm clearly in a relief bounce formation that is giving me both higher lows and higher highs. All right, let's take a look at the NQ. Not quite as strong as the ES. Really trying to get up and over these edges. Still can't get up over 70.57. 70.34, the last space that gave us a trigger. And you know what? Could we have a nice little bounce in the evening? Perhaps. We could move all the way up into these regions. Take a look at congestion. It's up here, 71.46 to maybe 71.79, somewhere there. Look at what's happening here. This is a messy patch. But notice, here's our higher low. We come back, we make a lower low, but higher than this one, and then all of a sudden we breach these guys. This does seem to tell me that we are trying to hold our spaces and punch up into resistance. Pullbacks are going to continue to give us buy zones. We've just got to be patient in that cycle event and pay attention to what happens when we come into these areas like 69.57, right? And yes, we fade them, but as soon as we can recapture these levels, because we are building a support formation that is giving us a relief bounce, it's going to give us an opportunity to move back up into the upside. A lot of times what we really need to do as traders is pay attention. Unfortunately, we really don't know how to do that. It's not a thing these days. But if you invest the time in paying attention, you're going to find some really beautiful things. Here's our last target area, 25 570, 569. What was that area? Something close to that zone. And now we're coming up into the 25,682. You can see these numbers from the morning futures event. I did not change anything. I just want us to watch walking up these spaces. Next line in the sand as we break through is that double top space. Now, this morning I talked about the double top. I talked about the motion, and then I said, hey, listen, as long as we hold this area around 25,350, it doesn't really matter that it looks like a double top. If it holds the higher low, it's going to battle through that area, and it certainly did. So we are on a grind forward. Notice first pass into resistance. This happens in general relief bounce formations. First pass gives us that region, fades, gives us a higher low. Second pass, going to break right into the next region and bounce up. Hey, listen, this is an elevator shaft that has got a very thin volume profile associated with it. Easily, if we actually catch a bid, we could move further to the upside there. That is entirely possible. All right, taking a look at our oil. Now, this one's very interesting, right? Because take a look at this. This is the Z contract, all-time lows for the Z contract here in this space. It is really looking abysmal. And what does that tell you? If you're in the room, you get tired of me talking about uh, how nobody really cares about sanctions. People that buy from Iran are going to continue to buy from Iran, and people that don't buy from Iran are going to continue not to buy from Iran. That's just how it goes. So if Iran says, "Hey, I'm going to flood the market," and we have a global slowdown, it's not surprising that if we can't hold above these 63 areas, we are going to break down. So now we're breaking down in these really nasty patches. And we actually have not seen these levels. I apologize for my chart going bonkers on me right there. We really have not seen these levels in oil since June. And really, actually, no, that's not true, since April. April was the last region that we saw this area um, come into play. Sorry, the Z contract actually has been active and has seen lower levels than this in the space. But now you obviously can see a do or die event. If we take a look across the space here, resistance broken, moves out, comes back, tests. First pass, we should try to bounce. That's what we've been trying to do ever since we hit 61.31 all the way down here in the space. First pass bounce action is going to move us to the upside, and then we're going to see how well the chart behaves after the fact, right? So that being said, what we are looking at is a chart that is really trying to lift. Not really sure why this is not giving me my good price action events. Let's go to 1600 tick. We'll see what's happening from that space. And I know I'm longer than 5 minutes today. My apologies. A lot to talk about. I don't really think that this is going to be something that we get to focus on during the overnight space, but I just wanted you to be really carefully focused on that space and realize below 62.20 we just have more selling to do. You can see today we came up into 62.20 after going all the way down to 61.30, and then we faded it. So we really are trying to hold the level. We'll leave Mr. Persnickety oil alone and then go right here to gold. Talked about this sideways action coming into the space, looking for frontline support. We know that people in general will trade an inverse relationship between the broad indices and gold. And so now we see the fade. Where's it going to come into support? My commentary this morning was the same. Hey, listen, we're going to pull back. First set of buyers we're going to see at the support zone. They're going to push us to the upside, not a place to sell the breakdown. The chart has been holding upward formation, but it really is a mosh pit, and it should be a mosh pit until the charts really decide what they're going to do today. I think tonight ought to be extremely interesting. Probably going to be doing a little posting if I want to sacrifice sleep and well being. Yes, I'm rethinking that just as I say it. So, that being said, stay alert, watch for these edges not to hold, and if we squeeze to the upside, watch for price action to collapse at the very high ranges. We are not going to hold our big pops in this formation, or at least that's my supposition. All right, see you in the morning.